Hello and welcome to the NextGEOSS webinar of the 24th of October. This time again, we are collaborating with eShape, another Horizon 2020 project that are developing 27 pilots of solving different societal challenges using Earth observations. Today, we are going to talk about the OpenSearch API. Sorry, but before we do that, let's do a weather report. Sorry, that was a little bit a rough start. So normally, we start with the weather report here in the NextGEOSS webinar series because we want people to come on, have time to come on. Before we do the weather report, I have to remember to introduce myself. My name is Bente Liljaby. I'm going to be your host. I represent the NextGEOSS project. We are building the European Data Hub and platform. And I'm also involved in developing one of the pilots. So I am having several roles in NextGEOSS. So I'm very excited about this webinar, actually. So first, let's do a weather report. Koushik, where are you and what is the weather like?
Hi, hello. I'm actually joining from Portugal, Lisbon. Well, the weather looks quite promising. It's a bit warmer, but it was a bit colder a couple of days back. But I think the sunny days are back here.
Yeah, Lisbon is very sunny,
Yes.
very often, we learned. So Koushik Panda is working for DEIMOS, the coordinator of NextGEOSS. And Koushik, I will let you introduce yourself when you are doing your presentation so people get to know you better. And then Piotr, what's the weather like where you are?
Okay, so hello everyone, thanks for having me. And I'm calling you from Warsaw, Poland. And right now we have autumn in Poland. However, the days are really sunny. And probably you can see on my face that the sun is shining and the weather is really good.
Sounds lovely. So Piotr Modzelewski is from Eversis, and he is working on the GEOSS portal, and we are very excited to learn about that. You will also introduce yourself when you are talking about the implementation of the OpenSearch API on GEOSS. So, Jovanka, how is the weather and where are you?
Hi, I'm in Berlin, Germany, and it's around 16 degrees and it's cloudy today. But it's warm. It's nice.
Yeah, sounds like a very pleasant fall temperature.
Yes.
So So Jovanka Gulicoska, she works for Datopian, our expert on CKAN, and she has been implementing the OpenSearch API on our NextGEOSS Data Hub. So we are looking forward to that. And Jovanka will also introduce herself before she presents her talk. And last but not least, Marie-Françoise Boudreau. Where are you and what's the weather like?
Well, apologies, I turned off my camera because my bandwidth is not good enough here. I'm in Toulouse, south of France, and the weather is quite, I think it will rain very soon, and then quite unstable, and then we should have sun and mushrooms in the next days.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of light. Okay, it's autumn.
Yes. Autumn in Toulouse, but Toulouse is also another sunny place on this planet.
It is.
Yes. So Marie-Françoise Boudreau, she works for the Open Geospatial Consortium, OGC, and they are all about developing standards of all sorts. And we will learn a little bit about her motivation for actually initiating these two co-hosted webinars with eShape and NextGEOSS. And she will also talk a little bit about the background for this particular standard. The weather where I am is, I am in Norway, just a little bit northwest of Oslo. We have a typical gray autumn day here. It's 10 degrees Celsius and a little bit rain in the air. So, but there's still some colorful leaves. The fall foliage is still lightening up a little bit before they disappear, and it's getting all gray before the snow arrives. Anyways, now we can start the presentations. And you, my friends, thank you for being here. I'm happy to see so many. And we would love to hear where you are and what the weather is like where you are also, because that's your warm-up to ask us questions in the chat. We would love to hear your questions and your comments, and you can ask anytime while you are hearing the presentations. And we might take some of the questions in between the presentations, but there will definitely be a Q&A at the end of the webinar. We will try to stay within 1 hour from 3 o'clock, so 55 minutes from now. That's approximately how long we expect this webinar to last. So don't be shy. Let us know what the weather is like. And by all means, tell us your experience with OpenSearch APIs or other APIs, or ask questions. So, Marie-Françoise, I will let you then introduce the concept or the idea behind the standard. Then we will hear from Jovanka about the implementation on the NextGEOSS Data Hub. Then Piotr will tell us about his experience on integrating it on the GEOSS portal. And finally, we will hear example from Koushik. Okay. Take it away, Marie-Françoise.
Yes, so as Benta said, well, I'm working for the Open Geospatial Consortium, and I am involved in NextGEOSS, where I am in charge of engagement, and also in eShape, where I am in charge of coordinating the implementation of the 27 pilots. And right now in eShape, we are assessing the pilots, where they are and where they plan to go to coordinate the developments. And in NextGEOSS, we are preparing the sustainability. And what I have seen is that OpenSearch is a really good candidate open API to connect the different components of the GEOSS. And this is what we try to push and raise awareness out of these 2 webinars we are making. Last week it was about compliance, and here it's more a focus about OpenSearch. So I would like to begin just by a little bit of history to explain what is OpenSearch and where we are going and why we think it's a good candidate for this type of system of systems. So the OpenSearch specification originated in a community effort built around the Amazon subsidiary A9.com in 2005. It is licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 2.5 license. The OpenSearch Query Protocol is a collection of simple formats for the sharing of search results, allowing to syndicate those search results to a variety of applications that support these open standards. The OpenSearch description format allows the use of extensions that allow search engines to request a specific and contextual query parameter from search clients. And the response elements can be used to extend existing syndication formats such as RSS and Atom with the extra metadata which is needed to return search results. So this standards supports extensions, as I said before. And in 2014, OGC has published the OpenSearch Geo and Time extension standards to the OpenSearch Query Protocol to provide a very simple way to make spatial and temporal queries to a repository of geospatial content that contains geographic and temporal properties, and to allow simple syndication of repositories. So these specifications, which is the name of our specifications have a number, so a name and a number. So it's the OpenSearch Geo and Time extension, OGC 10.032 release 8. It codifies those extensions in a form which is compatible with the other OGC standards baseline, and incorporates feedback from developers in the open source geospatial community. So it's completely compatible with OGC standards and the previous OpenSearch works. It is recommended for spatial and temporal queries, specifically for Earth observation collections and Earth observation product metadata. Further, it defines a default response encoding based on Atom 1.0 and XML. So it is complemented by the OpenSearch for Earth observation, OpenSearch EO, OGC 13.026 Release 8, suite of standards that updates the extensions primarily to include additional examples for developers. This OpenSearch for EO extension is quite a success story, as it is implemented for hundreds of Earth observation data series from all over the world, federated by NASA, ESA, CEOS, GEOSS, etc. So, but of course, you always have still room for improvements. So recently, further, 2 new encodings for OpenSearch EO conceptual model have been developed as a new standard. One for encoding metadata using GeoJSON or GeoJSON and Lee, and one for encoding the responses to OpenSearch EO queries in GeoJSON and GeoSLD. So works are still going on, but these standards are already very implemented and very used. And the goal of this webinar is to show that it is successful and usable by projects right now, not only by data providers, but also as an open API to build a system of systems. And just a last word, because now when I will talk about standards, I will try to explain how they relate to the data management principles. So this standard, because this is, I think, a webinar we will have to do later, this standard contributes to findability, access, and interoperability in the FAIR reference for data management. And for the geodata management principles, it relates to discovery, accessibility, and usability.
Yes. So this is, the headline for all this is, of course, to make the data interoperable across different systems, different fields, different regions, and so on. And as you say, Marie-Françoise, it becomes quite clear that standards are a very, very useful set of tools that can be used to make data more interoperable, the systems more interoperable. And like Marie-Françoise said, we are talking about having another webinar where we look at the data management systems and yet another means of making data interoperable. So with that, if you have questions to this, I will check if I have some questions already. And I think we will take this. I think we will take these comments afterwards. I see some great weather reports. We love the weather reports. Everybody loves to talk about weather, at least where I'm from. So, Jovanka, now forget about the weather. We dive deep into the OpenSearch API that you have been implemented on the NextGEOSS Data Hub.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, everyone. I became a regular on the webinars, so probably people already know me, but a short introduction. I'm Jovanka Gulicoska, and I work as a software engineer at Datopian. I'm responsible and I'm part of the team that is working on the NextGEOSS Data Hub. And together with the partners, we are building also data mining techniques for faster and easier discovery of the data that we're providing. Today, I'm going to talk about the OpenSearch API and how you can access the API and search through it, as well as how you can use the Data Hub to get your OpenSearch results. A bit about the two-step search and the improvements that we're planning about OpenSearch and integration with other systems. As probably most of you know, OpenSearch is a collection of technologies that allows websites and search engines to publish search results in a standard and accessible format. So this was one of the things when we had in mind when we started to build the OpenSearch API for NextGEOSS. And we've taken a look into OGC standard for OpenSearch geo and time extensions, and we're currently accepting queries using this, this standard on our portal. The Data Hub is built on top of CKAN, which by default doesn't provide support for OpenSearch, so we had to go and build one. And we're still constantly upgrading and working on this extension so we can provide even more compatibility to the OpenSearch standards with this extension for CKAN. How does the OpenSearch API work? We need the general description documents, which is providing the information about the collections that we have available for searching, as well as as well as some parameters that all the collections are kind of like sharing between them, and the collection description documents, which provides further information about the parameters that are available for searching for each collection respectively. At the bottom of my slide, you can see the URL that we have on the catalog, and this one redirects to a page where you can get some basic information about the OpenSearch API on the NextGEOSS Data Hub and how you can start playing with it. So we provide a way of searching with the OpenSearch API. We provide a simple way of searching through the portal directly. So the OpenSearch API is always like a mirroring the data that we have on the portal. And you can go on, after you have taken a look into the description document, which provides information about the collections that we have on the portal, you can go on and do a more detailed OpenSearch query. For example, in this case, we're querying Sentinel-2 Level 1C collection, and we can see the number of results. After that, we can continue according to the description document of Sentinel-2 Level 1C. We can go on and further query this. If you're not familiar with OpenSearch and you need an OpenSearch response, you can visit the Data Hub and create your query from the UI. With that, we have introduced the OpenSearch Matching Query button, which you can find on the dataset page. So everything we do here on the Data Hub, we can then reproduce an OpenSearch query. For example, here we are selecting the open land use map collections. We can see that the number of data sets is already decreased. And then we can click on the OpenSearch Matching Query button, which will redirect us to an OpenSearch API response, which will give us the exact same results that we have here. So we're not only supporting this regular search, we've also worked on providing a two-step search and access the OpenSearch results by filtering first by a collection, and then you can go on and search within that collection and apply additional parameters. So you can easily find the data sets that you need. This is also available through the OpenSearch Matching Query button on the Data Hub. So basically, the filters that you have on the Data Hub change accordingly to the collections that you've already selected. We can see that in action now. We are selecting Sentinel-1 Level 1C collection. And then we can also filter by a location using the map on the top of the page. by selecting an area there. And by clicking on the OpenSearch Matching Query button, we are redirected to OpenSearch, to the OpenSearch results, and we are getting the same number. If you can notice it here, and here is a bit, yeah. So everything that you do on the Data Hub, every single query, you can do an OpenSearch matching query, which is clicking at the button. So since we're constantly adding more data connectors to our portal, we are also collecting new collections, and in time they will become available through the OpenSearch API. As soon as we're adding a new data connector to our portal, we are also adding the OpenSearch support for it. So the data sets that we're collecting are available through the OpenSearch API at the same moment. This allows us to provide a variety of data for the users and accommodate their needs. And also we are working on adding additional parameters to the existing collections in the Data Hub, so we can provide a better filtering of the data, so the users can easily find the data that they're looking for. And the most interesting part for me was integration with other systems. So a correct implementation of OpenSearch and following the standards and compliance tests allows us to easily integrate with other systems. This also allows us to pull information from other systems and just have the support for it. But the GEOSS portal and how our colleagues have integrated this is really interesting for me, and Piotr will talk about it on this webinar as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jovanka. It seems to be, to me, a very powerful tool indeed, to be able to find exactly the data set that you are looking for.
Yes.
I see that Christophe, thank you so much. Just a comment in between here. I see Christophe is sharing a lot of information about the OpenSearch API, different implementation. I just glanced at it. I will look closely to it, and maybe we can open up for a discussion at the end of the webinar, Christophe. If you have a webcam and a Chrome, we might even invite you into the room so you can explain a little bit more the information you kindly give us in the chat. So thank you so much for that. Check out if you have a webcam, a Chrome, and a headset like this, because then I can invite you into the room. Okay. Meanwhile, thank you so much again, Jovanka. And now let's hear from Piotr how he integrated this on the GEOSS data portal.
Sure thing. Let me open my presentation. Okay, here it is. Let me know if you can see my screen.
We see your screen.
Okay, this is great. So at the very beginning, let me introduce myself. My name is Piotr Modzelewski. I work as a web developer at Eversis, and I participate in the GEOSS project, and me and my company. And I think we developed this portal for 3 or 4 years, so it's a lot of time. And recently, we were asked to integrate NextGEOSS into our portal. And I want to share my experience with it. So, at the sake of this presentation, I would like to point some important aspects of GEOSS. So we can think of GEOSS as a graphical user interface for several data sources. And most resources serve OpenSearch responses in DAP format. And DAP stands for Discovery and Access Broker. And this is Data Hub that for a long time was one and only data source on our site. So every time when we integrate another data source, we're trying to preserve this DAP format. And also, it is quite important that for now, all data sources demand just one request to present results. And here is a little presentation, a little demonstration. This is part of GEOSS UAT Support.eu. This is a development platform where we test our solutions. You are free to visit this site if you want to test it yourself. But for this presentation, I'm just attaching the slides of how this exploration looks like. So at the beginning, I am looking for water in all our data sources. After a few seconds, all data sources presents their results. And these results come from DAB, from Discovery and Access broker. However, one can specify exactly what sources he or she is interested in. And in particular, we have NextGEOSS integrated. And these results come from NextGEOSS. So here is the graphical representation of these results. User can expand some result, can see more information about it. For example, how many people saw this data, have seen this data, this result on our portal. We can rate and give comments to resources. We can download files related to resources if we have any. And also we can share results with other scientists, for example. If somebody wishes to see more information, he can go to the detailed page here. And this is a pop-up, scrollable pop-up that presents all the information that we gathered from NextGEOSS. Okay, so we achieved this. We successfully integrate with NextGEOSS, despite that there are some differences between data sources. So let me point out the differences. First of all, DAP requires just one step search to present results, whereas NextGEOSS requires 2 steps. Then names of parameters that we send in URL to obtain data are slightly different in DAP and in NextGEOSS. So for this query, I typed water. I wanted to see results starting from first result and display 12 results per page. And here are the names of this parameter on DAP, and here are the names of this parameter on NextGEOSS. So they are slightly different. Also, the response format varies for both sources. And here is just a sneak peek how it looks like. So that response is quite complex, and also it has some hierarchy. So in distribution info, we have information about all data sources that are ready to download. And this description file is quite huge. On the other hand, NextGEOSS has a really simple, flat hierarchy of these tags. Okay, so now let me speak through all the steps that we have to do to integrate successfully. There are 4 steps, and at the very beginning, to use one request to obtain data from NextGEOSS, we assume that by default we are looking for all catalogs. So when somebody is searching for something, we present all the data from NextGEOSS. As a second step, we need to adjust our parameters. We have to map them. So, for example, for phrase, instead of using search term, ST in DAP, we use Q like query in NextGEOSS. And we repeat this for other parameters. As the first step, we need to strip atom prefix in all tags, because here is the response from NextGEOSS, and almost every tag is begin begins with atom prefix at the beginning. In DAP format, we don't have it, so we can replace all these prefixes and tags with just tags. So this is also a very simple thing that we can do on our side. And the last thing is that we have to change path to properties. And for example, as I showed you this files to download, when we want to get the data from DAP about these files, we have to traverse through this very complicated structure. And our code to take it looks like this, so it's quite complicated. But in NextGEOSS, this is very simple, because we need just to take link with attribute enclosure, and we have link to file to download. So this is very easy. Okay, so this is what we have so far, but we can do more. We can extend some functionalities. And the first thing is that we can take advantage of two-step search. So we can allow user to search catalog first, and then search for some data in this specific catalog. And the second step, we want to implement filters, because some collections, for example, Sentinel, have additional facet filters, like polarization of CoReSyS. Okay, so as a summary, I would like to share my experience with NextGEOSS API. I think that integration was very simple, because the source is well documented and self-explanatory. The response format is very easy to navigate through, and we don't even need external help from NextGEOSS. Also, I think this task was very satisfying, because just 2 or 3 days of work, and we have completely new data source. So this is really amazing. And I also appreciate that NextGEOSS team is open for feedback and willing to do some adjustments. So it was really a pleasure to work with. It is really a pleasure to work with the NextGEOSS team. Okay, so this is all from my side.
Thank you so much, Piotr. This is music to our ears. So absolutely fantastic. And you should stay on here if you are attending this webinar now, because I have a great announcement to share with you along the lines with Piotr here at the end. I will not tell you yet. But Piotr, that was excellent. I'm so happy to hear that this was, effortless, basically, and that you can. So the GEOSS portal can actually get access by using this tool. The GEOSS portal can, be a portal also for a number of data sets around the world, basically. So already all the data sets that we have on NextGEOSS Data Hub is now available through the GEOSS portal. That's already a big win, and a good help for scientists and others who are looking for the Earth observation data. So excellent. Now we will have another type of experience that we would like to hear about. Koushik, are you there with us?
Yes, I am. I'm going to share my screen. And
Yes.
while I do that, let me introduce myself. So, hello, everyone. So, my name is Koushik. I hope you are able to see my screen.
It's coming, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Still dark. No. You need to try again.
Yeah. Okay.
So this, let's see now.
Do you see now?
So this is, yes, here we go.
All right.
It's not on the front page, I think, or is it the first slide you have? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Do you see as H2020 CoReSyS background?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So my name is Koushik. So in this webinar, I probably be representing the two different roles that I'm playing. So at one side, I'm part of the project coordination team at DEIMOS. So and at the same time, I was also the project coordinator of another H2020 project called CoReSyS. So I will tell the story from the perspective of a project of CoReSyS. So this I give you a very quick introduction of what we are. So we are a H2020 project. We started in 2016. We finished in 19, and as you can see, it's composed of 8 partners. And the idea is to for this project was to build a system for coastal research community. As you can see here, we are backed by a large community of coastal researchers, marine ecologists, and environment monitoring, maritime security and safety as well. And our aim or our goal, and that's something that we achieved during the project, was to address different types of user profiles. So novice user, intermediate users to experts, to have a whole our system tools were attuned to address their specific needs. So why we are talking about CoReSyS in NextGEOSS? So that's the result of the engagement activities that NextGEOSS has been carrying out for last quite a long time. And as most of you are quite aware of the 3 offerings that we have. So you can bring as an external pilot, you can catalog your data, and also showcase your application. So CoReSyS actually applied for one of these offerings, the integrate as a pilot, to get benefit from the several services, the platform services that NextGEOSS has been developing. And also it came at a right time when as a project we wanted to be sustainable, and we wanted to engage with other projects, and also reach out to wider community, and the NextGEOSS data hub that was a right fit. So we saw NextGEOSS as a sustainability enabler for CoReSyS. So as a starting point, so as you can see on the right hand side, we have a list of services in the green color, as you can see here. So we started thinking, why don't we start moving each service one at a time to NextGEOSS using the offerings, for example, cloud integration, data access, all sorts of things. And we started with optical bathymetry. That's one of the first applications that we integrated, and has been using the cloud integration service from NextGEOSS. While doing that, I must tell you, like, this has been also motivation from OGC innovation programs, and I started wondering, like, well, we have integrated our one of our application, great. How about that? Because in CoReSyS we do have a catalog, and that's where the users can look for data and as well trigger some applications. So we started thinking, why don't we see that we can connect with NextGEOSS, because the catalog, which is based in CoReSyS, is also based on OpenSearch, and the catalog in NextGEOSS is also following the same standard. So I think it was purely a motivation from out of interest, and to see and play around with these 2 catalogs. So we wanted to do in a way an interoperability test, and mainly focusing on Sentinel-2 products. With that in mind, and something Piotr as well shown here, so we compared the fields that we require. And in this case, it was interesting because the catalog of CoReSyS is already based on OpenSearch, is following the same standard. So what we did in our development environment is that we switched from our endpoint to NextGEOSS catalog, and it was very simple, and it was done very faster, and it was possible because of the standards. And that's something that Marie-Françoise started talking about at the beginning, that the benefits of standard was this quick switch from one catalog to another. And it was done with zero impact for our user, because of for at least for CoReSyS, we wanted to make sure that the users have the same experience, same seamless way they want to use the platform. So that has been done quite easily, and there has been no impact as such. And it was, so in a way it was quite simple. So that has been done in our development environment. We are yet to move to production, so that's something we are planning to do quite soon. And once we do that, we might have some sort of a communication, so everyone would know the benefits of NextGEOSS OpenSearch API. So yeah, so that's the story I wanted to tell from CoReSyS.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Koushik. We can now we are entering into the Q&A. Please do ask questions to us. We will be happy to answer them. And if you are in a position with a camera and a Chrome browser and a headset like me, you will also be able to be invited in here. We will try to do that. What we have heard today is that the OpenSearch API from NextGEOSS can be integrated in many different environments. So the entire global, the global Earth observing system of system, that's GEOSS. We have an extension there, so you can find NextGEOSS data through that portal. You can also find it in this case, Koushik gave us an example from a Horizon 2020 project, so a European project. Many of these projects are actually producing data. And one of the challenges that we face is that when the project ends, very often they are, not literally in the drawer, but something similar, equivalent to a drawer, and we will never see them again. So by making it so easy to connect to other portals, I think this is a very, very powerful tool. I don't know do you have any comments at this stage, Marie-Françoise? Are you happy to hear about all this?
Well, yes, I'm very happy to hear about this because this is really what the standards are for, to implement this Lego metaphor and be able to connect components easily and switch from one component to another if needed, or enrich, like here, the catalogs of GEOSS. And this is really why we work for, and seeing that it works efficiently, and that we have this feedback from Koushik, from another 2020 project, and this feedback from projects that they just needed some hours of work to connect to several powerful components together. It's really what we work for. It's standards in action and results oriented, so it's perfect.
Yeah, and to me it sounds like we can actually stand by the claim, our claim, that you can save time and money on using standards. I think that's what we already heard, and it's super easy. And using standards is part of making it easy, it sounds to me. I promised you a very good news. And that news came, well, Marie-Françoise, maybe you will tell it, because you are the one who have been working with this group of people.
Yes, we are working with people from AmeriGEOSS also to integrate OpenSearch in AmeriGEOSS to extend again and build a system of systems out of Geo. And we had some feedbacks today that this is on really good tracks, and just a question again of hours to be released publicly. I think that Christophe was asking to talk better, and CodeD is also an interesting portal implementing OpenSearch. So maybe we can give the floor to Christophe.
To Christophe, I invited him. So Christophe, if you hear this, you should have received the link that is necessary in order for you to come into this room. It's from Webinar Jam. You might have to look in your junk mail to see if you got it through there. But we know Magnus-François that he's using Firefox, so that's could be a limitation. So, but we heard that there are several other implementations of the or integration of the OpenSearch API on its way. What I think is interesting to point out is that we see that these systems can now talk through a general. I heard some. Is that perhaps you? Yeah, Christophe is coming into the room. Welcome, Christophe. Let's see if he succeeds in getting in. It could be difficult. We saw him come in, but you have to turn on the blue buttons, Christophe, to get on the microphone and the camera. Well, I will continue to make my point, an observation here, that we have the possibility to use this NextGEOSS OpenSearch API to connect the data hub that we have with, or making that accessible through the GEOSS portal, which is the central portal for all the Earth observations globally. But, system of systems, it's also that between the systems, for instance, we can connect the regional implementations of GEOSS or GEO, and we can also link to individual projects. So there is a limitless way of linking all the systems together and crisscrossing in every direction you want, which makes it a super forceful, it's a powerful tool to find data. And I think, Koushik, you made a point when we were talking prior to the webinar. Do you remember what your observation was? That it was a redundancy issue that we also solve by implementing this.
Yes, so I think this also, I also discussed with Marie-Françoise about that it gives, I think this system allows, in a way, an operational business continuity, if you are using the term correctly. So it means that for the community, if they're looking for a certain data product, if it's not available in one catalog, it's available from other ones. So there is a sense of a fallback option as well. So it makes sure that the delivery of data is ensured to the community, and I mean, for example, one catalog might go through some maintenance activities, and it might be down for some infrastructure reasons, but that should not hinder the users from accessing the data, because then the data is immediately available from somewhere else. I think that in that sense, the system of systems, and it's a great way forward, and it will, I think, promote on a larger scale. I think it promotes the adoption of Earth observation as well, and also making the life of application developers much easier.
Absolutely, I think this is. I don't even think we are able to see all the benefits from making this actually happen. With the Copernicus, the European Copernicus program is the biggest provider of Earth observation data in the world. And the Copernicus data is actually accessible through several of the member countries. You have they are mirrored several places, which is also beneficial for for the users in the sense that it's not only the catalogs. So if one of the catalogs are down or several of the catalogs are down, there's another catalog where not only can you find the data, but you can also access it because there will be several mirrors of the data from Copernicus. So there's this is really crucial for, as you said, Koushik, for the business. For if you want to deliver a service 24/7, you really need to have this redundancy system up and running. I see that Christophe, you sent me an email. I would really like to hear, since you are planning to do something with you have implemented, right? Let me see what I can do. I got your email there. You got.
Well, while you are trying to put Christophe on air, I would like to inform that OGC is working. We have a domain working group working on platforms interoperability. We are also working on data cubes interoperability and federation of data cubes. And this is going in the direction that Koushik was mentioning before, to secure SLA and accessibility of the data anytime. And this will support the requirements from the European Commission to make Earth observations available for business. Because if you want to base a business on Earth observation, you need a really good SLA. And it's also the case for disasters. We are also working on disasters, and disasters require a very good SLA, and securing the access to the data is always good for them.
Yes, Christophe. Do any of you see his messages there? I have a little bit. I only have one screen here, so.
Well, I could see the messages he has posted into the chat, where he was mentioning that he works for DLR and on the code DE platform, which is a platform to provide Earth observation to Germany, but of course they have data which goes broader than Germany. And they apparently use OpenSearch themselves, and they will interoperate with NextGEOSS.
Which is wonderful news. So I just sent you an invite from within the within the webinar room, Christophe. Let's see if we can succeed this way. It might be the Firefox that is the limitation. But anyways, we have your links and we have the information. Thank you so much for sharing that, Christophe. That's great. And we will list that together with our other stories of examples of how to integrate the NextGEOSS OpenSearch API on your system. Piotr, do you have any? We were discussing the two-step search possibility on the GEOSS platform. Have you some reflections on that for us?
Actually, I can share my screen with example of how catalogs work in GEOSS so far. So let's try me do this. Okay, I'm sharing my screen right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so because from this discovery and access broker, we have separation into catalogs, and it is hidden in advanced search. So when the portal is loaded, we take all possible catalogs from this data. So we thought that we may do something similar for NextGEOSS, because so far that was the only resource with such catalogs. And maybe we can expand this model to other data sources. So I think this is one way of approaching it. Yes, and you can take a look that when we are in GEOSS source, we have this catalog, but so far any other resource doesn't have it. But maybe this is a way where we can implement it.
Right. Yes. So I don't know if this looks how this looks for you, Jovanka. Do you have any comments or ideas that you want to add on to what Piotr just said, or any other comment for that matter?
It's this is great, and yeah, we were discussing together, and we're going to work on improving and adding more filters, then so we can do a more advanced search through the GEOSS portal as well.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is the first thing that we can improve. And the other thing is that usually every source has a filter by tab. And I think we can implement filters for NextGEOSS as well. So right now we cannot see anything here, but if we proceed to GEOSS, for example, we have some faceted filters and we can narrow down the results. So I think also something similar is possible for NextGEOSS.
Yes. Yes, we will. We are creating a super powerful tool here. And thank you, Piotr. Looks very, very promising. Anybody else want to comment on Piotr's ideas there? Koushik, Marie-Françoise?
No.
Well, no further comments. It's
No.
I think it's a great collaboration. That much I can tell you. Now I'm talking from the perspective of NextGEOSS. It's a great collaboration, and we look forward to work very closely. And I think as well with Christophe, we should also reach out to him and also share some ideas. And I mean, I think our aim is to further how we can improve the experience and of application developers. I think with that goal, I think we are in a very good direction.
Yes,
So,
yes. I have to admit, because I have been in Geo for, well, since 2004, actually. We have been talking about, making the system of systems, and it has had so many limitations. But now finally, in my mind, I just finally see that this is a system of systems that, it's possible to crisscross, between all of the systems. I'm very, very excited, and I'm so happy that we managed to put the right people together. It seems like you have had some fun also doing this, by the way.
Yeah, and also a big kudos goes to you and Marie-Françoise as well.
Oh well, thank you. We love this, right, Marie-Françoise?
And Rich Frazier from USGS, who also inspired all this cooperation, and Guido, who supported it. You need some people on the way to understand what is the potential of the ideas and try to push it to the right people. So yes, thank you to everyone.
Yeah, thank you to everyone. And if you're going to Canberra, that's the next place where we can meet and discuss future possibilities. We do have a link also to South Africa. I have to mention that. So for you, they have the national Earth observation repository. They are interested in also implementing and integrating the NextGEOSS OpenSearch API, and also in cataloging for that matter. So we are, this is really going to spread rather fast now, it seems like. So the next webinars, thank you everybody. Thank you so much for your presentations, and thank you audience for attending us. And I hope that you got much out of this. We will post the recording of this webinar. We will post the slides from the presenters also on nextgeoss.eu. and you will find it on YouTube and so on. So we will spread this information the best we can. And the next webinar is already on next week on Wednesday, where we will talk about Earth observation and collateral data. I love that word, collateral data, meaning everything like social media, OpenStreetMap data, everything. That's collateral data. And they are using this combination of this in security situation understanding. So I think that will be a very good webinar as well, where you will learn some concrete use of these powerful data that we have and the tools that we have. So that's 3:00 Wednesday the 30th. And as I said, we are going to Canberra to the Geo-Ministerial, and we have a side event there where we would like to discuss further with the entire community to collaborate around the use of the fantastic resources that we have in the NextGEOSS project. And I will also plug here eShape, because eShape is making use of all the tools and data as well. And they have 27 pilots in different areas. Some of them are agriculture, energy. Marie-Françoise, you know much more about this than me. You are working on this regularly. Which topics are you covering in eShape? Do you remember on the top of your head?
Agriculture, disasters, health, water resources management, climate services, and energy, of course. And I'm missing one, which is biodiversity. And yes, and all these pilots are using at the moment more than 30 platforms. So this is why standards are very important, because if we want to be able to get benefits from all the European resources, we need to work with standards.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you again, and looking forward to see you the next time. I'm Bente Lilaby from NextGEOSS, and representing also eShape in today's webinar. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.